Doctor, as I said in introducing you, you have seen a dramatic slip in the polls. And the reason seems clear. I want to put one up. In a Quinnipiac poll a month ago, this is before the Paris attack, 64% of Republicans said you have the right kind of experience to be president. 30% said you didn't. But now, 42% say you have the right experience, and 46% say no. That's a 22-point drop on this issue in less than a month. And I guess the question is, how do you persuade the American people that at a time of terror, at a time of domestic threat, you're fit to be commander-in-chief?
Well, by continuing to talk about what I've been talking about for months, and that is logical policies for how we work things out. If people actually listen to what I have been saying, they will see that it makes perfectly good sense. But the nice thing is, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Otherwise, it would already be over. So we have plenty of time to get messages out and to talk to people. And I believe that the American people are smart enough to recognize that we're in a very different time right now. And it's not necessarily the one who shouts the loudest. It's not necessarily the one who claims to have all this great experience. The fact of the matter is, there's nobody running who has a great deal of international experience except for Hillary Clinton, and you see where that has led. So that's not necessarily the thing that has to count. You have to look at a person's lifetime experiences. Have they been a person who's been able to solve complex problems? Have they been a person who's able to work with a lot of people and make wise decisions? Because it is critical that the next president be the right person. They're going to get 2 or 3 Supreme Court picks. It's going to determine the direction of our country. We, the people, are going to have to make that decision.
But Dr. Carson, here's an example of the problem that you now face, whether it's fair or not. You spoke this week before the Republican Jewish coalition, and here's how it began.
I normally am a spontaneous speaker, but I want to make sure I get all my points in today, so I will actually be using a script.
You then read from prepared remarks for half an hour. You were the only candidate who didn't take any questions. And then there was this.
Fatah and Hamas operate in a constant state of conflict. Fatah rules the West Bank, Hamas rules the Gaza Strip.
Afterwards, Ari Fleischer, who's a member of the RJC board and, of course, was former Bush Press 43 press secretary, he tweeted this: "Someone should have told him how to pronounce Hamas. He sounds like he's not familiar with the group." Question: how do you respond? And you've read it over the last couple of days. How do you respond to all the criticism of your speech, sir?
Well, I expect everything that I say to be criticized. There were also some very positive remarks about it. I don't expect anybody to hear about that. We need to get to the point where we start looking at the substance of what is being said, not the style in which it is being said. That's a sign of maturity. And I actually believe that the people of this country are going to recognize that. They know what has happened traditionally when people try to manipulate everything and steer the conversation in their direction and try to manipulate people's opinions. But, all I have to say is, let's wait and see.
I have always been told, and I say this I've said on the air many times, you and I are friends, and I have great respect for you. I've always been told that a good doctor is never threatened if you ask for a second opinion. He welcomes that because he wants to do the best for the patient. Is it possible that with the changed focus of this campaign, with the attacks in Paris and now in San Bernardino, and the increased emphasis on foreign policy experience and being commander-in-chief, that maybe you're not the right fit at this point?
Well, what I would say to that, Chris, is I think of all the people running, I've probably had the most experience making critical life and death decisions, probably far more 2 a.m. calls than anybody else, and have a record of solving complex problems. And let's let the American people decide whether that is the right combination, or maybe the right combination is somebody who's has spent a lot of time talking about stuff. We'll see.